This podcast is brought to you by the Podtower, hosted by the Watchtower database. Visit youtube.com/thepodtower for informative, hilarious DC animation-themed podcasts and live streams every week. And check out the Watchtower database for DCAU video essays, timelines, fan theories, and more. And please, enjoy the show.
Everybody clap on three or on...
Ted knows what to do. Just do it.
3, 2, 1.
Ted's been a part of the clap countdown longer than you've been alive.
I usually do the countdown.
He does, yeah. I put other people in charge of the clap. I don't want to do that. I never want to
do that.
I don't know. I don't like doing it.
Ted and I live for the clap. Wait.
Oh, God. Did I tell you I found the origin of me going 3, 2, 1, go at the start of stuff instead of saying like action or whatever?
But dear God, please tell me why.
I was watching the bloopers from the first Brigadier Crenshaw, so 2006 or whatever. You both know what that is. No one listening knows what that is.
I know what it
means. It's Will coming down. He's supposed to come down the stairs at a specific moment, and I keep going just like, okay, I'm going, I'm recording. And he's like, James, I need you to get, like, he's getting all pissed off. I need you to give me a number, like a countdown or something. Say go or something like that. And then it just immediately cuts to me going 3, 2, 1, go. And then I've just done that for 20 years since then. It's like, what a weird moment to just stumble on. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we know, and everybody else knows, because I guess we've started.
Everyone knows the origin of me saying a thing that they've never heard me say before.
But Ted and I have heard you say at least a million times at this point.
I'm here, though.
Yes. Hi, Ted.
Hey. Oh, yeah. Hey, check it out. It's Ted.
I'm a guest.
Check it out.
Whoa. You're more than a guest. You're an expert.
Ooh. I'll take it.
What's the what kind of buses you got there in Alabama?
One decker.
So
you got unideckers?
Unidecker bus. That's where Ted hails from. We all come from a different type of bus. It's for some reason a joke. I don't know why. Yeah.
Wait, Jamie, I feel like I don't have yours down. Is it slightly smaller bus?
I think we've just said smaller bus, yeah.
Smaller bus.
Lesser bus, something like that. Yeah.
It's smaller, so we have big bus Oregon, smaller bus Oregon, and now coming from
Unidecker bus.
From
Alabama.
the far East Coast, we got Unidecker bus.
But we just call it Unidecker.
No. You have to put the word bus.
Hey, you can't tell them what they call their home.
Very profound,
and
Brian.
that's how we end the podcast.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for. Don't tell people what to call their home is the name of the podcast episode today. Welcome, everyone. This is Jump on the Bat-Wagon and Ted. I'm James, and that's Ted. And someone else is also here that we're showing the entire DC animated universe from start to finish for the very first time. I'm waiting for him to chime in.
And I'm the person who's being shown the controversial air date order in the very first time, Brian.
It is controversial.
Yes,
very controversial.
Ted, why would you say it might be controversial to watch these in air date order?
Because it's confusing. You want to watch part 2 right after part 1 comes out, but then you got to wait like 3 weeks.
You're like, no, why would you ever do that?
To be fair, that's only happened like 15 or 20 times.
I think it's only happened twice, maybe total so far.
Yeah, it's not been that bad, but it was certainly the first one was the most shocking, and I bet that's why you get most of the people hating the air date order, because that specifically is such like an egregious act.
I mean,
there's more.
Yeah.
Is there?
I put it in the most recent video. I won't tell you what exactly it is, but we will end up watching an episode that follows up at one of the movies before we watch that movie. And that'll make you upset.
This sounds like some Firefly shit.
It's it's kind of he's talking about the show Firefly.
I know, I'm talking Elemental.
It's the opposite of Firefly. But that's kind of what we're doing today.
Icefly.
We're watching the episode Deep Freeze. Yeah, Icefly. Ice.
It might be more of like
walk.
an Iceland.
Ice crawl. We're watching Deep Freeze today, okay? Let me get through this.
No way, man. Good
Brian's
luck, buddy.
plot
You interrupt
prediction
us,
from
we
last
interrupt you.
episode was that this was going to be Mr. Freeze freezing things, and I think that that's pretty accurate to what we're about to see.
Hell yeah. I'm really good at this.
I know. We're all so good at doing a podcast. Ted and I have always done a podcast every day.
We did it for 2 years.
Yeah, we did do
Twice
it
a month, 2 years, 12 level intellects.
And if you listen to any of the episodes, you'll see we didn't know how to do a podcast, like I just said.
No.
So-
Doing it as we went.
Nothing's changed.
No, we still
No,
don't.
actually, a lot's changed. You have these really fancy music cue buttons now, where you can
that's true. We didn't
do
have.
things like this. Or you can do things like this. And my favorite one is this.
I'm like, I'm going to run out of buttons.
That was some teamwork. Well done, you two.
So this originally aired Saturday, November 26th, 1994. Where were you, Ted, on November 26th?
September 6th, 1994.
No, November.
November 6th. I was 3 years old in
Brian was 50 years old.
Unidecker, Alabama.
Perfect. Where you sit, you're still there. You're still 3 years old. 10 a.m. on Fox Kids.
I was not watching Batman at this time. I didn't get into Batman probably until 97, maybe.
Yeah, neither was I. We've talked about that a little bit, that like we're still in the area of like, yeah, I saw these for the first time when they came out on DVD, kind of a thing.
Well, but this one, Deep Freeze, I
Yes,
saw
it was
for
on
the
the
first
tape.
time on VHS.
It's on one of those tapes, Brian.
It was one of the tapes. It was a
Yeah.
tape called Fire and Ice, and it had this episode, Deep Freeze, and then it had the Maxi Zeus episode,
Yes.
Fire from Olympus.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so it was kind of like the two were sort of connected, and like, okay, yeah, fire and ice, but
Except
also
he doesn't do fire like at all. But
yeah, but it's Fire from Olympus. Zeus
Yeah,
is
Olympus
lightning,
does
lightning
fire.
makes fire. Anyway, but also kind of connects on themes of immortality, right? Zeus thinks he's a god. Mr. Freeze is immortal, not by choice.
yeah, I
So
suppose
if you think about it loosely, there's some immortality.
I don't think they
themes
thought
going
that
on.
hard about it when they were.
They might
putting
not
them.
have.
They
It's
weren't
probably
that
just the
smart.
publisher.
Yeah.
The publisher's like, oh, fire. We need something to go along with the ice. Oh, my God.
I think probably the other way
Perfect.
around. Oh, this one has fire in the title, but it has
And I
nothing to do
think-
with fire.
I think it was the only one of the VHS series that was not like the Riddler.
Right, yeah.
Penguin. It was Fire
The
and Ice.
character
are
Fire
Justice
and
Leaguers.
Ice.
They didn't appear
yeah.
until later. Don't worry about them, Brian. You'll meet them later.
That would be funny if you picked up the Mr. Freeze looking tape. That's, this must be about Brazilian hero Fire and Nordic hero
Scandinavian
Ice. Yeah.
princess, yes.
Okay, this is story by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, which I think they both were the team on Heart of Ice also. Teleplay by Paul Dini, director Kevin Altieri, music Shirley Walker, and animation Dong Yang. So we got quite the stacked crew here, although we've had Dong Yang for the last 20 episodes or something, so it might not mean anything. I'll point out this is the penultimate, which means second to last, Brian. I know you don't know that, episode produced. This is the btas season 3 finale. It's also the final episode of 1994, which makes it the Jump on the Bat-Wagon season 3 finale.
What?
Whoa!
We're going to have
What?
like 4 episodes of season 4.
I'm the finale guest.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
I guess.
baby.
You're the
Going out
season
with the
3
bang.
finale. Yeah. Let me look at the season. So I have it like I have my spreadsheet spread out by sheets, spread by episodes of seasons and everything. Yeah, season 4 of Jump on the Bat-Wagon, which is 1995, is 6 episodes long, and then we'll immediately be in the next. Yeah. I think, but that's the end of btas. It'll probably include our bonus episodes and all that stuff.
Yeah,
That
okay.
fun shtick.
Do all of the rest of the things we have to watch come out in 1995?
No.
So wouldn't that if our Yoppie Dude season
Yeah.
is based on the calendar year,
Yes.
then wouldn't that mean that we have seasons that are like a episode long?
No. The next season after that of Jump on the Batwagon is several episodes of Superman. And then the one after that, several episodes of Superman and the next Batman show. And then the one after that, et cetera, et cetera.
So we're gonna get into Superman before finishing Batman content.
Well, technically, yeah.
Oh,
And Batman's around like the whole fucking time, so get used to it.
I am glad to be able to jump in while we're
Yeah.
still talking BTAS though, because that's like
Yes.
it's the first, it's the original.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on here too. For especially, do you want to mention now why did you? Well, no. Let's talk about it when we talk about the episode. Why you wanted to be on this episode? Because Ted is notorious for not giving a shit about spoilers and anything. And that's part of that's.
I'll look them up.
Ted,
I don't care.
Ted will seek out spoilers. They're like, oh, a new movie's coming in 3 months, and someone spoiled the entire movie. I better go read about what happens in the movie.
Because it sometimes makes you want to see it more. You know
Why?
I just watched Shazam. I saw Shazam 2 yesterday, and I only wanted to watch that because a certain guest cameo is in it.
Well, yeah,
I spoiled for
knows,
myself.
Everybody knew that one.
Everybody knew that one?
I mean, to be fair, there's a horror podcast that I listen to, and I'm not one for horror movies really, but I love this podcast and I love these people who host it. And that's one of those things where like I would not watch 90% of these movies, but like they do like a really entertaining review, and I'm like, okay, well now I want to go see it. And like knowing all this like behind the scenes stuff about the director or whatever, like it is kind of fun.
I think that applies to horror movies because I want to know how scary it is before I go see it. I want to know if I'm going to jump out, need to bring extra shorts with me. But in this case, Ted, I don't want you to tell. I don't give a shit that you told him about Fire and Ice, but you know, don't be like, oh, I remember in Batman Beyond when this thing, like, shut the fuck up. Right now, stop talking. Okay, we're gonna go watch the episode now. We're gonna watch the episode. Here we go.
Only you have the know-how to duplicate the accident that made you what you are. What I long to become.
I want to live like this, abandoned and alone. A prisoner in a world you can see but never touch. Old and infirm as you are, I'd trade 1,000 of my frozen years for your worst day.
Actually, I had another kind of swap in mind. I was a major investor in Gothcorp a few years back and put up some money for their cryogenics program. I trust you know the young lady behind the glass.
My wife.
The Gothcorp execs think she perished in the fire, but my men got her out. I have the technology to restore her, my friend. All you have to do is grant my wish.
Very well.
You prefer a deep freeze, you were saying? Yeah. To a shallow freeze or a small indented freeze? I don't know what the opposite of deep is.
Shallow?
I think I said it already. I said it, yeah, okay. Shallow. I can't quite go to the deep end yet. I'm just a little baby.
Shallow burn is the opposite of the episode.
Yeah, there you go. Or is it fire walk, fire crawl, or something? Yeah, we watched Deep Freeze. We did it.
We did it, you guys.
Yeah.
Normally, I tell Brian to tell me what happens in the episode, but I'm going to tell Ted to.
Oh, wow.
That's how we
Yeah,
do.
we'll play a little song first, okay?
Okay.
Ted, you got to hear the song first.
Sinyap, sinyap. If you're wondering, sinyap, sinyap. What you just watched, sinyap, sinyap. Take a listen to the synopsis. The short summary, which is sometimes kind of long.
That's always so wholesome.
It is.
Right?
Tell us what happened in Deep Freeze, Mr. Kendrick.
Deep Freeze, an episode I've only watched probably 100 times because it was on VHS.
Uh-huh. Just like Robin's Reckoning for me and X-Men for Brian.
It starts off, Mr. Freeze is hanging out in Arkham.
Sorry, when you say his name, you have to go, Mr. Freeze! It's required.
Mr. Freeze.
And you have to shout it.
No.
If you could yell into a bottle, that would be great.
Here we go. Mr. Freeze.
Nice.
You're like a little lid. Okay, anyway, what's he doing?
He was hanging out in Arkham where we left him,
60 episodes ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And more.
The Galaxy Far,
70
Far Away.
episodes ago.
From Heart of Ice. So
Yes.
he's hanging out these guys' little miniature Nora, spinning around, little ballerina music box thing. And a robot crawls out of the ocean and climbs up the wall and yeets him out of the his cell.
Wait, am I the only one who thinks that that's like very reminiscent of Iron Giant with just like slightly different arms?
It's we'll talk about it.
I was thinking, yeah. So Batman and Robin are reviewing the footage, and they're like, he doesn't have emotions. He can't act that well. He probably got kidnapped.
Mr. Freeze is notoriously a bad actor. He was in local plays and he got critically panned.
Yeah. That's why he's a scientist.
This must be real.
He's
Yeah.
flunked out at theater school.
He was roommates with Robin Williams.
Yeah. He would always get stage fright and just freeze up. Anyway.
Oh my god.
So I don't remember how Batman and Robin track him to I guess do they follow the robot?
They go to Carl Rossum.
Oh yeah. And Carl Rossum's like, I'm out of the robot business. But he is into the toy business, and he's made a bunch of cameo toys.
Yeah, he's made a bunch of Easter egg toys. Yeah,
Batmite, for instance. Batmite is like this crazy hallucinatory fifth dimensional imp from like the 1950s Batman comics.
Yeah,
and he flies around. He's like, I just want to help.
I'm your biggest fan, Batman. I love you.
It was so Tiny Toonsy.
You were like really thrown off
he's
by
like
Batman.
That thing from the Flintstones. Like what is he?
Yeah,
Like the
Great Gazoo. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy that Brian should know because he's an ancient man.
Wow.
The little green alien dude on Fred Flintstone's like shoulder. He's got like a big like motorcycle helmet with antennas sticking. You don't fucking know the Great Gazoo?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
There's also a blink and you miss a moment there in the toys where you see Mr. Mxyzptlk from Superman.
And Crypto
the Super Dog, and Streaky the Super Cat.
Yes.
They're all hanging out. They're all like other toys.
Ted's getting ahead of the Trivs. Yeah.
I know, I'm doing what happened, guys.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So Rossum, who we saw on Heart of Steel, the old M9, that's what it says. M9's the name of the robot. I remember. I don't remember how he tracks him, but anyway, Batman and Robin take the Batboat and find their way to Oceania, which is this big like Legion of Doom looking facility on the ocean where there's jellyfish buildings and they take the Batboat there, but then there's these shark torpedoes that get launched at them, and I don't know why they're designed to look like sharks. I guess it's just like a theme park thing that Walker did. Like,
it's just super on brand.
Yeah, he's got to make
I guess ocean. Yeah, Oceania. I guess sharks are in the ocean. You're right.
He's Walt Disney.
Yeah, he is basically Walt Disney. He's like Walt Disney meets like a James Bond villain. Weird hodgepodge.
With Sharkpedos.
Yeah, with Sharkpedos, exactly. And Batman and Robin get out of the boat right before it blows up, and then they swim the rest of the way. They break into Oceania right as they watch like an early version of a Zoom call, like talking to everybody and saying like, welcome to Oceania, we're about to destroy the outside world, but don't worry, you're going to be nice and warm in here while we freeze the rest of Gotham and kill billions of people.
I missed why were they doing that?
So that they can have a utopia, I guess. Genocide.
Somehow he already convinced like hundreds of people to come be there in his dome.
Crime. As he said something about Gotham City is crime ridden and stuff like that. And it is. But
only recently has crime existed, and it's just real bad out there. So we gotta go in my bathtub place. We'll all be fine. Yeah.
And so Batman and Robin very quickly get noticed by robots, little flying robots with helicopter heads, and kind of short and stubby. And they capture Batman and Robin and bring them to the Zoom call. And Grant Walker's like, we always get gate crashers. And so he sends them down below where Mr. Freeze is hanging out.
Hang on, Aaron is pushing the door open and closed over and over.
Another guest on the episode. This is just an all-star lineup today.
Now featuring Baby.
Yes.
Anyway.
So they get brought down to Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze says hello, and
he walks in. That's what he says. His famous catchphrase.
Yeah,
Hello.
I think I must have glossed over the bit where Walker is talking to Freeze about how he wants to be immortal, and he kidnapped Freeze so that he can get his access to his suit and the immortality that keeps Freeze alive, which Freeze doesn't want to be alive, but Walker wants to be alive, so he's like, that's perfect for me. And
I just want to be alive, please.
Because he's an old man and he has so much more to do. You know, he's built this theme park that's ocean themed, but maybe after he kills everyone, he wants to build another theme park.
Fire theme.
Yeah, exactly. Fire and ice. So he's got ice. Now he's got to do fire. So Freeze is reunited with Nora, but Batman's like, hey, if Nora finds out that you killed all these people, she's not gonna like you anymore. And Freeze is like, silence. But he gets it. So then he frees Batman and Robin.
Freeze?
Yes, he does. Now he froze them and then he sets them free.
Yes, yeah. He frees them.
Give him the good old frozen freeze.
That's why they call him Mr. Freeze, because he's always freeing people. It's just letting them out.
Yes. So what happens next? Walkers goes through the operation. He gets a Mr. Freeze cosplay suit with different gloves.
He went for the periwinkle gloves.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. And then Batman and Robin come to stop him. They get in a big fight. Mr. Freeze throws Walker in a vat, and then he crawls out of the vat, and then they blow up all of Oceanus. And while everything's blowing up, all the 1%ers are evacuating.
That's probably how he got him in there. Yeah.
And then Walker ends up getting Freeze, ices him to the vat, and then he sinks in the ocean. A little fish floats by, and he does a silent scream forever, while Freeze is trapped on a little iceberg, but a floaty iceberg with Nora, and he's like, we're together again, my love, or whatever. And then they float off in the distance while Batman and Robin's like, I bet we haven't seen the last of him because he's immortal.
Brian, do you think we've seen the last of Mr. Freeze? Do you think that's the last time we ever see him? Do you think we'll see him in 60 more episodes?
Yeah, 60. I bet
60.
I know from your, and I actually don't even know what show. I think I'd guess Batman Beyond. I think we've talked about this, where there's like an old, like Bruce Wayne's an old guy and there's a new like young capeless Batman.
Sure, yeah. You're on the right track. Yeah.
I would guess guess that he'll come back then.
Oh.
Okay. It'll have to be like a real future thing. Like real down the line.
Because he's immortal.
Yeah.
I've been stuck in this fucking rock for 50 years. Help. So my biggest question with the you said you brought up Grant Walker gets in his cosplay and he's like as soon as he gets the tubes make him gray and then he's like, oh, this suit is stronger than I could have dreamed of, and breaks the table. Wouldn't the suit would have already been like that, right? And then his body, how did Mr. Freeze know what to do to make him another Mr. Freeze? Because it was like a freak accident happenstance that turned him into Mr. Freeze. Like, okay, I need you to stand in front of this table full of random bullshit and I'll kick you into it, and we just got to kind of hope that it happens again.
They did the same thing with the Flash.
Yeah, I guess so.
If the Flash has to, because it's the same deal. The Flash gets electrocuted with a bunch of chemicals, and that's how he gets his speed.
He's just guessing when he has to do it again that these are the same chemicals, I hope.
Same chemicals.
Hope we don't die this time.
Got to go through the same thing.
Yeah.
Easy. It's called science.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's Mr. Freeze.
Testing your hypothesis, conducting an experiment. And those were the what do they call it? The I don't know. I'm not a science guy.
It's called science, James. Learn about it.
We have constants and variables. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to sell. There we go.
I believe you. The official synopsis, much smaller, much shallower synopsis. Mr. Freeze is sprung from Arkham by aging billionaire Grant Walker. Just imagine him crawling in there and breaking him out.
He's a billionaire in 1994 money.
Whoa, yeah. Who is looking to freeze the world and recreate it according to his own design. Batman and Robin infiltrate the billionaire's underwater city and combat both high-tech robots and Mr. Freeze himself, who has decided to do Walker's bidding and cover the Earth in a new ice age. That's Ice Age 2, the Squeakquel or whatever. I don't know what it's called. So Ted,
No, that's Chipmunks had the Squeakquel.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Ted, why did you want to watch this episode?
So I mentioned in the intro,
Yeah.
I had this on VHS when I was a kid. It was one of my go-to rewatches because it was one of the most accessible episodes besides the stuff I, taped off the TV. But
and without spoiling anything, you had a comic that sort of follows up this.
Yes, I was about to mention that too. There's a sequel comic book where Grant Walker returns.
Yes.
And so that was like one of the first comic books I ever bought. I think I was in kindergarten, like 1998, I guess, was when I was in kindergarten. I don't know.
I don't think that adds up, but you said this to me before.
No, you're right. That doesn't add up. I think I was in second grade in 98.
That makes more sense. Yes.
Whatever. Yes, that sounds.
Brian, we're babies. Little
Babies.
96.
Just
the math doesn't add-
whatever.
Either way, it was Batman Gotham Adventures issue number 5. Now I have 2 copies of it. I have a very well-read, torn up kindergarten Ted read version of the book, and then a nicer copy.
You don't know what you got when you're little. All the coloring books and stuff I still have from that time are like, why is this ripped? Why did you draw in pen in this? What the fuck are you doing? Asshole! I need that now. Why didn't you know you would need it 30 years later? I do like this episode quite a bit. It's a very different Mr. Freeze episode than the first one was. I think we had talked back then, Brian. I just spoiled for you at that time. I think that we weren't going to see Mr. Freeze for a very long time, and it was because they couldn't figure out how to top Heart of Ice or what to do with him after that. I think is Heart of Ice still your number? No, is it number 1 still? I don't know.
So?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is your number 1 still.
It's a good
after
one.
all this time. But yeah, I mean, it's like I think this episode has better animation and is more locked into. Okay, this is how a Batman episode is written. This is how a Batman episode is supposed to be drawn, and all that kind of stuff. Way more than Heart of Ice was, but it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mean I don't think it's when I say it's worse than Heart of Ice, I don't mean to say this is a bad episode. It's just not. It doesn't elevate as oh my god.
Did it win an Emmy?
Yeah, exactly. Nope. Yeah. But Brian, you still had some very reactions to things that were happening. So
whole
he's a very tragic
Mr. Freeze.
character.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've said it a few times too.
Mr. Freeze.
There you go.
And Nora thing is just such a sad, the love lost, and he's kind of always sort of got a chance to get it back, but not quite. And it says always that perpetual carrot, perpetual carrot dangling in front of his face.
Perpetual carrot. I think that's the subtitle for
Perpetual carrot.
Yeah.
But it's just so sad, and when of course he was devastated that his wife got killed, and he was so pissed, and now he's oh, wife not dead, but can't save wife. Maybe
that was something I also accidentally almost fucked up and spoiled in front of you, because I forgot how in Heart of Ice it's just implied that she's dead. You see her on the VHS tape that Batman watches, and she's just a silhouette in a tube, and that's it. And I had mentioned something about and he's got his wife in cryogenic stasis or whatever, and you're no, I think she was dead. And I went yeah, she's dead. Forgetting that.
I think I saw her leg twitch.
Oh boy. There's just 2 people are gonna laugh at that, but whatever. One of them was me, and I just did. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's a very solid episode still.
Yeah.
I didn't notice anything particularly cool about the music. Cool. I think there was probably moments that would stand out if I was listening for them, but it's kind of one of those like, yep, the music happened, even though it was Shirley Walker.
We'll listen to the mail segment, and Jordan will let us know what we should be looking for.
Exactly, yeah.
I think one of the best music cues is when he first like steps foot in Oceanus and Walker greets him. It goes this like kind of ominous, sort of like, welcome to Oceanus.
Those are the lyrics. Welcome to Oceanus. Yeah. I mean, it's one note, but it was 7 words, 7 syllables. Yeah. There's a lot of the action scenes were really like fluid and good. There was the Batman and Robin fighting the helicopter robots on the top of the thing.
I love the motion that Batman does, where he like twists around and grabs the grapple and then just like shoots it at the robot.
It's one of those like, you pause it in mid motion, his face is all like stretched out kind of things in like a good way. Like they're showing the like bend and snap, if you will, of the motion and stuff there. Yeah, whenever that happens, I like that a lot.
And I always like a Batman, like in this episode in particular, where his like highlights are like really blue on the front.
Yeah.
It's just a cool look. Like the rest behind him is always like high contrast, but he's got that just blue reflection on the front of his face.
Yeah, whenever they got like
that's
a flashlight
pretty
or
new.
TV or something. Yeah, we've noticed that like in Lockup
Later,
there was that.
Yeah. It's like these later season episodes.
Yeah. Grant Walker's mustache changed length about 20 times, I know.
What?
I wasn't on mustache duty. I wasn't looking at
at first there was the guy at the start shooting a shotgun that had like the droopiest, cool, like giant black mustache. And then, but yeah, Grant Walker, like when you first see him, he's just like, it's definitely like fully attached to his face. It's like me length mustache. And then when he's under the ice at the end screaming at a fish, it's like long enough to poke off the sides of his face. Like it's, when he put the juice in me, my mustache grew real long.
That's how it works.
3 times its size that day. Yeah,
Mr. Freeze had any hair. Mr. Freeze doesn't have hair. So, but if he does,
he had hair when he got kicked into the table.
Freeze?
Yes.
Mister?
The
table?
Well, it iced all his hair off. It chemicaled all his hair off. But if he had a mustache.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so he had some like alopecia juice or something like that, and this one he's like, oh, well, that happened to me. I'm gonna have to like put in some like hair growth serum into this one.
Grant Walker wants to maintain his Walt Disney cut, so
he had the constants. The hair growth chemicals, one of the variables.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, it's science, you idiot. Let's talk about the cast of this episode.
Let's talk about the cast.
Kevin Conroy as Batman. I gotta start giving him the applause more often. Lauren Lester as Robin.
Give everyone the applause.
Lauren Lester as Robin.
Applause.
Still alive. Michael Ansara as Mr. Freeze. Not alive. Should I do those? Let's not do those.
No. Let's stop that there.
Pat Fraley. Don't know if he's alive as Batmite. They actually credit him as Batmite.
I like that they credited that as Batmite.
Not just like bat-shaped robot dude. Right?
What is a mite in this?
I don't know, just tiny, a shallow bat, if you will.
Tiny thing.
Like flea-sized, I'm guessing that's why.
But he's bigger than a flea.
He's way bigger than a flea.
He was bigger than most insects, I would say.
Yeah. This guy, maybe all, in fact.
Most. No, there's some spiders that are bigger.
Yeah. He's not those Australia spiders. He was previously, this guy, Pat Fraley, he was Jest, a Joker henchman in The Last Laugh, the Captain Clown episode. So he was one of the many clown mask guys on the taco barge. He's probably best known for voicing Krang in the 80s TMNT animated series, which I'm sure that was brought up before. Yeah.
Wait, he was Batmite?
He was Batmite.
Oh, wow.
And Krang. Remember when the guy walks out with the like little squidbilly in his belly, and he's like, "Batman, I'm your biggest fan." That's like, and the turtles are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I never got super into turtles, but I know them. I know Krang from the Batman.
Yeah, I know. That's the only one. That's the only reason I know anything about Ninja
I used
Turtles,
to watch the Ninja Turtles cartoon, so I'm actually familiar with him from there.
Daniel O'Herlihy as Grant Walker. He plays a character named the Old Man in RoboCop 1 and 2, who was like the CEO chairman dude of the bad guy company, who was, I guess, a big bad guy character, but I really don't remember.
And in charge of robots again. Typecast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
His first IMDb acting credit was in 1947, so he's been around the block. He was in a bunch of bit parts and a ton of random stuff throughout the years. I also wrote his longest running thing was 26 episodes of a show called Jamie McFeeters as Dr. Sardius McFeeters.
Dr. Sardius McFeeters.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Dr.
Sardius
Sardius McFeeters. 12 episodes of The Long Hot Summer as Boss Will Varner. 12 episodes of A Man Called Sloan as the director.
Wait, was he the director or did he play the...
He was the director of A Man Called 12 episodes of Sloan of. 9 episodes of The Pirates of Dark Water, which was an early 90s animated series I'd never heard of till I looked it up. And 6 episodes of Twin Peaks as Andrew Packard. Do you recognize this character? I don't know.
I mean, yes, but I need to see a face. I know the name.
Okay. Oh, he looks like just like Walt Disney.
and didn't Walt Disney, like, isn't there a myth about him, like, actually freezing himself to be immortal?
I got that intro.
Isn't that a thing Walt Disney really? Oh, that's a trivia thing.
I've got the Walt Disney
I'm
comparisons.
getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. Don't ever talk about anything. It might be in triv.
I said silence.
And then immediately go, well, you're right, actually. Let me be Mr. Freeze. Did you find the guy?
Yep.
Do you recognize the guy?
Of course.
And I also wrote, I wish I could say this ended on Duckman Private Dick, but it does not. There's no Duckman.
There is.
No, he wasn't in it.
Somebody was.
And William Sanderson is Carl Rossum, who we've talked about before.
But he was in
also
Duckman Private Dick.
Sure, I'm maybe.
Wait, sorry, what's the name?
Someone in every
Blade
episode.
Runner, where he played
the same guy.
The same guy. Yeah.
Let's do trivs.
Give me the trivs.
Okay. After Walker undergoes the cryogenic treatment, his skin turns pale blue, just like Mr. Freeze. However, when Freeze revolts against Walker and uses his freeze gun to encase Walker in ice, Walker's face reverts to his pre-cryogenic flesh color.
Did it?
As he's freezing him. I don't know if maybe that was a DVD error that they fixed or something, because I did not notice that. I feel like I would have gone like, wow, what?
I didn't see it either.
I wasn't looking.
Then he was just pencils after that. He was just turned into pencils. He's underwater.
It's the SpongeBob pencil.
Yeah, he's a live action photo of a pencil. This episode shares its title with an episode of the 1960s Batman live action series, also featuring Mr. Freeze.
The pen. Never mind.
Per several sources over the years, the main reasons for such a long gap between episodes featuring Mr. Freeze were that the writers couldn't come up with a satisfying companion to Heart of Ice, and that the creators were so proud of Heart of Ice they wanted to leave it as a standalone episode. Comic Scene magazine number 31, which was published before the final 20 episodes were produced. I think this is Paul Dini. I regret that we didn't. Let me try this again. I regret we did only one show with Mr. Freeze. I'm sorry we never brought him back. Now that we've done the first 65. Alan Burnett, one of our producers, kept saying, how about another Mr. Freeze story? I would sit down and write one, and somehow I would end up, well, the Joker's funnier, let me write another Joker story. To a degree, I didn't want to write another Mr. Freeze story. I thought his story was so sad, and it comes to such an emotional ending that I didn't want to bring him back if he was just going to be a stock villain. I probably will write another Mr. Freeze story, but it has to be tied in with emotions because that's the great paradox about him. He's someone who claims all emotion have been frozen out of him, but on the other hand, he's the most passionate one because his pain is so deep. Freeze. The whole thing, so the thing about them not wanting to bring Mr. Freeze back or not knowing how or whatever, reminded me that there was like a pre-Heart of Ice even episode idea for Mr. Freeze from the Writer's Bible, so I plucked that out to share because it sounds kind of ridiculous. Once a shifty cryogenics expert running a body freezing scam, Mr. Freeze eludes the police in his lab, only to be found out by Batman. The two fight, and Freeze is knocked into a cryogenics chamber where he is frozen into a near-death state. After he's revived, he discovers he can only live in sub-zero temperatures and vows to make Batman pay for what happened to him. After his freak accident, Mr. Freeze is created and uses the lab as a front for the theft of a valuable ice called Diamond. As museums and jewelry stores suddenly freeze and diamonds are stolen, Batman's detective skills lead him north instead of east to Freeze's Arctic smuggling operation and a battle in the snow with the deadly cold foe. Would you have preferred to see that episode than either of these, Brian?
Nope.
Or Mr.
No.
It's just a series of cold-themed crimes, but that's actually the entire episode.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
My recording app crashed. Just a quick interrupt. Yeah.
Jesus
So
Christ.
it's just the Zoom audio for me. I'm so sorry.
Well, that's okay. We
sorry.
invite you here to our fucking show. Okay, moving on with the trivs. Oceania is also the name of the fictional country in George Orwell's novel 1984, and Walker addresses his followers via a giant television screen in the same manner as that novel's Big Brother. So there's some
I've been calling
Big
it
Brother
Oceanus.
You're right, and I did too, because I believed you.
We messed up.
I should never believe that Ted says words correctly. My bad.
Nope.
There's several obvious parallels between Grant Walker and Walt Disney. Walker refers to his theme park designers and builders as Visioneers, a reference to Disney's Imagineers. I caught that whenever Rossum was talking about. I used to be one of his Visioneers until something that happened.
Part of his little Mickey Mouse club.
Yeah, with all my little dudes here. Disney's brand of entertainment is often criticized as being too fictionalized and for trying to impose a sort of make-believe atmosphere on the rest of the world while ignoring or cutting out the bad parts of reality. Likewise, Walker dreams of creating a fascist state free of bad things while killing the rest of the world. I don't know.
So
I guess that's true.
would he then have to, because he's bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa!
There's a paradox.
Paradox.
Walker's dream state resembling a fascist state may also allude to a frequent criticism that Disney was supposedly an anti-Semite and a Nazi sympathizer. Which I don't know if that's true. I started looking it up because I've always heard it was true, but then on the DCAU wiki it put in parentheses it said like not or like untrue or false or something like that. And I was like, huh? And then when I started looking it up, there was a bunch of like people against and for the idea, and I'm like, I don't want to figure it out for the podcast. I'm not gonna. This isn't my spot.
That's not for us to say.
Exactly.
we didn't know the guy.
Yeah, I did not know Walt Disney. Up until the last days of his life, Disney drafted plans for a self-contained city of Epcot, a city of tomorrow, which would be honored in one of his theme parks. Well, I didn't realize that was actually like a city idea and not just part of the park. The big golf
it's like
ball.
Living Plus, if anybody watches Succession.
No, only
No,
you do.
never mind.
Nobody watches that very famous
Some
show.
people who listen to the podcast might know what that reference.
Dylan Pollock.
Yeah, Dylan.
Lastly, there's
That's for you, Dylan.
an urban legend that Disney wanted to be cryogenically frozen before his death in order to continue his work. Yes. The legend was given credence by then Disney CEO Michael Eisner, but has been frequently disproven by the fact that Disney's death certificate shows he was cremated and cryonics was not actually invented until after his death in 1966. Again,
Fire and ice.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Porque no las dos.
Also, just like another kind of like, he wasn't really a Nazi. I, the DCAU wiki editor, know he wasn't a Nazi. Also, he couldn't possibly be frozen because cryogenics wasn't invented until after this time. I don't think it exists at all, does it? Like in this state to freeze a body?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, to come back as like wake up later exactly the same.
They haven't figured that out, but you can.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You can actively either freeze your head, like just your head, or your full body.
Like the guys in Futurama, the presidents.
Honestly, when I heard about it, I was like, "Yo, it's Futurama."
It's holes, baby. You said. Outside of Carl Rossum's office, the dynamic duo is assailed by a robotic Batmite. In the comics, Batmite was Batman's biggest fan from another dimension. Near Rossum's toy chest are also versions of, as Ted said, Crypto the Superdog, Streaky the Supercat, and Mr. Mixia's Spitlick.
I'm sure that's going to make sense at some point in time, but you're just
only the last one.
Only Mr. Mixia's Spitlick, yeah.
Streaky the something.
Well, Streaky is in the show, but not. Shut the fuck up. You'll learn. You'll learn.
Don't give me a triv and then tell me to shut up about it.
No.
Crypto is in a later one too.
Oh, you're right. They are both. They're all three in there technically. Okay. Anyway. Also meant to Rossum's robotic toys meant to keep him company is another allusion to J.F. Sebastian from Blade Runner, played by William Sanderson, because we had him creating robots. But yeah,
when they went to go visit Rossum, is that like his house, like
his apartment or something? Yeah, I guess
it just says his name on the door.
That's
like, it's
true.
not like apartment A, apartment
Yeah.
B. Like and it's decked out. It looks like a little kid's room.
That's
Like-
I had never really given it any thought.
It kind of like my thought is like, what if it's like a nice prison thing? I don't know.
Or
It's
like
it's
like a place for him to try to get better or something. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, his name is just on the door.
it felt more like a cell to me.
Yeah.
So
Brian, you said stuff about the Iron Giant. Grant Walker's robots, like the one that steals Mr. Freeze out of prison, have been confirmed by various members of the btas crew over the years to be based on the concept designs of Hayao Miyazaki. This design in particular being very much based on the Heavenly Troopers from the Studio Ghibli film Castle in the Sky. Are you familiar with that?
Oh.
If you look at those, if you type in Castle in the Sky robot into Google,
I will do that.
you'll just see the Deep Freeze robot. It's almost identical.
I was thinking, oh yeah, that's so similar with the same arms and everything.
Yep.
Oh my.
I was thinking that the robots reminded me of the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Has an episode called The Mechanical Monsters, where a bunch of robots are flying around and kidnapping people and putting them inside the robot.
Yeah.
Like they kind of did with Freeze.
Oh yeah, they just put them in their chest. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that's what he was based off of. But
It could be both. I'm sure that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
The storyline of Nora Freeze frozen alive in a cryogenic tube is later adopted in the film Batman and Robin. Indeed, in the film's commentary on the 2-disc DVD, director Joel Schumacher mentions how it was taken from the animated series, indirectly referring to this episode. Ted did a whole video about Joel Schumacher's influences on the DCAU.
And there was a giant ice cannon.
Yeah, I thought about that
feel like
too.
was-
Yeah.
Part of Heart of Ice also?
He did have a
Right.
giant ice cannon, yeah. A giant heart
Yeah.
cannon.
It's oh.
Shoots human hearts out of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the freezing the whole city like that too. I like Brian did like a very dramatic eyebrow raise at the animation of the city. It just fades from like a normal looking city to a partially frozen city to a fully frozen city, and the fully frozen city is just like one kind of jagged line of ice over the whole city, and you just kind of had like a last thing I got, Grant Walker does not appear again in the animated series, but does appear in the spin-off comic book, Batman Gotham Adventures, which Ted talked about, where he has escaped the ice after several years of imprisonment, an experience which drives him insane. In deleted material meant for issues of Gotham Adventures, Walker is killed by a robotic doppelganger of Mr. Freeze.
Oh, wow.
Which I didn't know about because I guess it wasn't part of
I didn't know that either.
That must be the glowing red eyes.
Yeah. Well, so you asked about that. I think that's just, it's one of those stylized details for the moment kind of things. I don't think they're actually like little flashlights or whatever, but
It's the light swinging in front and
exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze, and then the light goes over him and he's Killer Croc for a second, and then it goes back and he's Mr. Freeze.
I do love that shot where he comes out of the shadows and his eyes
Yeah,
are
yeah.
glowy red, and he does the spiral.
Ted and I both said like one of the best shots or something like that. That's the
Yeah.
best shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
In the show.
it's a really good shot. I could see it being iconic.
Yeah. There was also that moment. I think the only reason I knew it was because they used it in like a Toonami promo for btas, where it's just Mr. Freeze's head on the big TV going, "Your city is doomed." And it said that as he said it, like, "Oh, I think this is coming up."
It's cool that it was like all for a good reason though. Like he's not like, "I'm taking over your city." He's like, "Hey, get back to the real world, real quick."
Out of context for the Toonami thing, it definitely sounds like, "Oh no, Mr. Freeze is going to destroy the city," but then in reality, it's like, "Hey, fuckheads, please leave. You are about to die. Get on the boat." And then they're instantly on a boat. They got on the boat so fast.
Instantly on a boat. They have teleporters in their underwater city.
1%.
Yeah,
99% of
Attention.
Americans.
That's how Grant Walker got them all there. Was he's like, "Anyone with Twitter Blue, come to my island." Get on the boat. Yeah. And they're, "Oh, that's me," and they get on the boat. Yeah.
We had a very small like introduction to the populace of that city. It was
they're
like,
just there.
Yeah, it was just like a couple people who had basically the same character design sheet, and then that was it.
Yeah, they're all dressed in the same like Navy uniform or some weird thing.
Was it just like two blonde dudes? Is this like an Aryan
we
thing?
did see those two guys.
It's a little cultish.
It feels a little like
It's
that.
a little like L. Ron Hubbard kind of going on.
Yeah.
doing some early Scientology.
Oh my God, how did that ever take
Grant
off?
Walker's everybody. Big Brother, Walt Disney, everybody. Yeah.
Do you think Grant Walker built the World of Tomorrow theme park for Mask of the Phantasm?
Oh yeah, I hope so.
He's like, welcome
Ooh.
to the future.
Will somebody do a video on that? Because I'd like to watch a Watchtower video soon. That'd be great.
I do think the lady robots that were operating the machines looked a lot like the lady who was cutting up the. And Joker's like, oh, Meatloaf again? Like that lady.
Have those
They were pretty
copies
similar.
of her with little hard hats.
Yeah.
Hard axe. Let's talk about keen effects in this episode. We talked about the swirl of ice. We talked about the red glowing eyes, the action smears and such.
There was a shot of Batman. I think this was during the helicopter Bottercopter? I don't know.
Helibopter.
In the fight where there was like a close-up of his face and he was kind of like zooming through the air and it had good like swooshies behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how to say that more.
Swooshies.
Love a swooshy.
Honestly, whenever I need an image of what you're talking about, I just search anime swoosh and it knows what I mean. Like,
oh, hey. I'm techier than I thought.
Nike. It just dispenses a bunch of Nike swooshes in the background. Whoa, going real fast. You got the tennis shoes on. There's also...
Can we calculate the speed of Batman by the amount of Nikes behind him?
Yeah. One Nike equals 5 mph. We got there's in that same scene again, the like big yellow flashlight lights coming off the robots were well done, kind of overlapping Robin. And then Batman, there's one right on the dick of one of the robots, and Batman throws his battering directly into that one, and I almost shouted, like, throw it at his dick, Batman! Like, that'll knock him right out. I also like that Batman accidentally takes out one of the robots by trying to, like, shoot it with the grapnel gun, and it just wraps around its blades, and then just it falls to its death. Like, oh, well, that'll work, I guess.
And the whole time he's thinking, if only I had a folding chair.
Yeah. That's to break through windows. He can't fight robots with chairs. Although he does just slam down on that one's head. He just drops out of the ceiling and
full on Mario stomp.
He does, yeah.
I did this to a Goomba once.
I do like the moment with Mr. Freeze like picks up the encased Batman and Robin in their donut of ice, and he just like squeezes his hands together and crushes just the edges, and then sets them back down and goes like, "Come on, we've got a bunch of shit to do." And I always wanted to cut to like a wide shot of them just being like, "You only broke the corners. We're still in here." Like, oh, sorry.
It's kind of like at the end where Batman just puts his cape on Robin.
Yeah.
And just like,
Oh my God. Brian,
the ice block.
is that a?
That's not how that works.
We haven't formally done one of those in a while. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'll give you some hard and fast physics. Insulation works both ways. If you are on your way home from the grocery store with a frozen pizza or some ice cream and you don't want it to melt, wrap it in a winter jacket, and it is going to stay frozen more so than if you just left it on your chair.
Because when you put a blanket
Wow.
on, it's warm because your body heat is making it warm.
Because it's insulating. And
Yeah.
So by like Batman putting the blanket on
It's science,
the
man.
Robinberg, he would be like, okay, let's just keep you in here a little bit longer.
Yeah. I need you to stay frozen until we get back to the Batcave.
But then
I don't have any soup.
I don't have chicken soup to throw at you this time. Yeah.
He needs to carry soup in his
Yeah.
belt.
But
it's always
then we got a shot later on, and it was like melting very fast. And Jamie, you had the astute observation that maybe it's a heated cape.
Yeah, he's got little lines of like wires running through it, like an electric blanket.
Yeah. You know,
Oh, that'd be so cozy fighting crime in a heated cape.
just always jumping from building tops with an extension cord so his cape's plugged in.
Yeah.
Goes a little bit too far. Punk, unplugs.
That's what they meant by fire and ice. It was Batman's cape.
Okay, so this episode might just be like us trying to like dissect and figure out what Fire and Ice is actually
What
about.
does fire and ice even refer to? Well, speaking of Batman's cape being an electric blanket, what would we say Batman's usefulness is in this episode? And how we do this is we pick an object from the episode as a rating. So it's like I think Batman did a pretty okay job he stopped all the stuff, but also Mr. Freeze did most of the stopping. Like, I don't know. I'll give him like a medium 5.2.
Out of what, 10?
Yep.
Yeah, 5.2 robot hard hats out of 10.
Yeah, I'll meet you pretty close to that. I mean, he was, when he was kicking ass, he was kicking ass. I'll give Batman 5.5 periwinkle blue gloves out of 10.
So nice.
I think I'm going to give him a little more credit. I'll give him 6.3 tickets to Oceania.
Come claim him before the world gets turned into an iceberg.
Only because I have to disagree with what you said a moment ago about when he shoots the grapple and it like misses and twirls around the robot.
You think he did that
was
on purpose?
Yeah, yeah. That was a planned move. Batman does not miss.
Okay, if you say so.
There's no evidence of him missing ever.
Nope.
Carry on.
Never.
Ted, is this episode books or hip hop?
Oh, I think it's more. It's hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Agreed.
It's
It's 1984 as a hip hop beat, hip hop tune,
as done by Disney with a little bit of Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, there we go. Now, Ted, we got to make you a top 10 list. Obviously, this is going to go on it because it has to by default. But I think we've given people the option before of not going how we do things usually, where we just start. We would start with a 1, obviously, but you could put it anywhere on a top 10.
Yeah, Dan Riva put his episode
at 10.
We didn't have him do his second.
I know. I realized that.
Shoot.
We'll have him on again. We'll get regulars from him.
Dylan has Christmas the Joker at place 11. Keen Machine has his number 1 as Laughing Fish, and Joe has his number 3 Demon's Quest Part 1 and his number 4 Demon's Quest
also,
Part 2.
we didn't get Joe to put Avatar on his list either, so we're
Oh my
falling
God,
behind. We're
bad at
slacking.
this.
I've made my top 10 list before, and I'm trying to.
Do you think you have episodes? This is for just btas. Do you
Yeah,
think you have
I got it.
episodes?
No, I got you here.
Okay.
Feet of Clay is up there for me. That might be at the top. House Garden, or House and Garden.
House of Garden.
It's a house made of garden.
Still a full garden in there. Yeah.
The Demon's Quest, Rachel Ghoul's always fun.
Really? Okay.
Two-Face.
Yep.
Are these all ones you're naming that are better than Deep Freeze?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of my favorites. Almost Got Him. Trial. I'm at 6.
Damn.
Heart of Ice.
What I'm liking most about this
Deep
is
Freeze 8. Deep
okay.
Freeze
I'll give
is
it
8.
an 8. I like how you can list all of these now, and Brian knows what the fuck you're talking about. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I need a 9 and a 10. Let's go.
I mean, you don't. I've only written down Deep Freeze.
We'll listen to the podcast and we'll put it back in order.
Nah, I don't think so.
I will.
The Captain Clown episode, Make 'em Laugh.
Yeah.
And Tiger. Okay.
Tiger. Yeah.
Oh my.
Coming in hot.
I knew. Yeah, Ted's always liked that one. He's got the poster somewhere.
I like Tiger. And I had a cat that I named Blake after William Blake.
That's true.
For Tiger, burning bright in the forest, something. I could have named him Tigress.
Blah,
But
blah, 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 fearful symmetry. That's how it goes.
it's Ted's top 10.
The top Ted.
Top 10.
The top 10.
10.
Okay, we're going to go to Yoppie Mail. When we get back, I'm going to tell Brian the name of the next episode, and he has to guess what it is. Here's the mail.
So, real quick,
Oh, my God. What?
just to interrupt,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
what is a yop?
We don't know.
Episode 1, baby.
Yeah, episode 1 of the podcast, Commissioner Gordon. So Cat in the Claw, part 1. Commissioner Gordon meets Batman in an alleyway, and he's standing under a sign that says Yoppie Foods.
Really?
And we have no idea what that means, and Dan doesn't know what it means. Nobody knows what it means, but it's because everything is Yoppie on this here podcast.
Yeah, so we joked, I think, in the first episode that we should call the podcast Yoppie Dudes.
Yoppie Dudes.
Which, like, nobody would get at all. And so then it's just, that's then, like, Yop and all things Yop.
We are
have
still
become,
the Yoppie Dudes within it.
Yeah, but there's also, you don't know if you'd about the Yop Tower. There's like a...
Oh, yeah, I love them. I'm subscribed.
Okay.
Yeah, on every video.
So it's this whole pervasive thing.
They're doing good work.
There's a new Yop Tower video that I need to watch. Actually,
There is. Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Honestly, I enjoy their content more than Watchtower.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's true.
Hot take.
We drop
What we drop?
our weekly yachts
Oh yeah, those.
into the comment box. First, there sure was a lot.
Now
Jamie's
Jamie's
mad.
mad.
Too bad we're all
At least I am.
Just Dylan Pollack. Just Mr. Freeze.
What if we do the whole mail section screaming into our water bottles?
This first piece of mail comes. First, Brian, I wanted to tell you, just Brian, don't listen, Ted, for no reason, about how we've gone up 47 spots in Japan TV reviews. I have no idea why.
Hey, you're big in Japan.
But that's pretty cool. I guess so.
big in Japan.
I guess we are.
What numbers it put at us? 900 something.
56. We're number 56 in Japan. Yeah.
Okay, that's perplexingly good.
That's way too high, yeah. Hello, Japanese listeners. This comes from Davin Deptuk. Yeah, I said it right. He gave me the pronunciation. Yeah, okay. It
Is he
wasn't
Japanese?
I hope so. If you're Japanese, tell us, and so we can write so-and-so is Japanese on the wall next to Brian.
I promise you I will do that.
A question for y'all today is, what's your favorite lesser-tier Batman villain? Define lesser tier as you will. Mine's Mr. Zaz. P.S. My favorite running gag is Jash's Raish voice. Comedy gold. That's me going like, my daughter. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Yeah, well,
Mr. Zaz not in the show.
I know that. I don't know if we can only count ones that are here, but lesser tier. I'm gonna go with the ones that like appear like one time, and I guess Lockup is my answer out of all of those. All the other ones fucking suck. Nostromos and Boss Biggest and all those guys.
Is Tigress a bad guy?
Sure. Yeah. You got Tigers.
At half, he's half a bad guy.
Then he's half my answer.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a crowd pleaser and say Condiment King.
Okay.
Ooh, yes.
Thank you.
That one cuts mustard.
Yeah. This is from MN Drew 1. Side note, Lockup, and it's a screenshot. He has on the topic of Lockup, he has submitted the character of the Key as like an anti-Lockup. This is a villain we won't meet for a very long time, but he's a guy who specializes in keys. So yeah, and a Lockup versus the Key would be kind of interesting.
That's a great idea.
Jordan Newman, GCN Musical Minute.
Bring it.
You're listening to GCN, Gotham City News with Jack Ryder. Tonight's top story, a catastrophe at yet another amusement park outside of Gotham. I'm not really sure how we have so many amusement parks in and around Gotham, but
Grant Walker.
Apparently there's another one and it's been destroyed. This one by Grant Walker, and his team of Visioneers, created Oceana, which has now been destroyed by, I think, Mr. Freeze. There was a lot of ice involved, and I can't get in touch with any witnesses. Now over to the music. I love the music in this episode the way I love the music in any Mr. Freeze-centric episode. I particularly like that the snow globe at the beginning does not actually play the Mr. Freeze theme, but plays the chord progression of the Mr. Freeze theme, kind of hinting at it. And then we get the whole dramatic Mr. Freeze theme at the end when they're destroying Oceana. Never apologize for loving your fandom and try to stay optimistic.
I shall.
Lovely.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, I did notice that now that you mention it, just like we predicted would happen. The whole when you do see the little Nora in the case, there's like a little hint of the music from the end of Heart of Ice. That was nice.
I wish I remembered it.
Mr. Ryder probably didn't get any witnesses because none of the 1% wanted to admit, we were about to commit genocide.
We were there. Yeah. I was thinking that they didn't respond because they're so busy, you know.
Oh yeah.
They don't have any time to talk to Jack Ryder. Yeah. It's from Scotty Cameron. Mr. Freeze returns. Hey, Yoppie dudes. Great show as always. One thing I would like to add to the Make Gotham Safe Again discourse is that a lot of people made Trump jokes in regard to that slogan, but failed to mention that the Make America Great Again slogan was originally used by Reagan in the 1980s before Trump.
That's the truth.
At the time, you had to be paying close attention to know the truth. Now you don't because the truth is out in the open. Big stuff from Scotty Cameron.
Hot take. That's the fire with the ice.
That's the fire. Just
Yeah,
spitting
Scotty's
fire.
great for that sort of thing. Thank you, Scotty.
It says, read this bit in the Mr. Freeze voice. Deep Freeze is an okay episode. I do like the little homage to the Fleischer Superman cereal, Ted, with the robot that abducts Mr. Freeze and places him in his chest. Also, we get the return of Carl Rossum, which I know we were all waiting for, especially with that mundane spoiler I made in his Silicon Soul episode that made Jamie mad. But now he's forgotten about it since it was a year ago. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Even I don't. Brian certainly doesn't. I do think Freeze helping the chairman of OCP build an Arctic utopia is a bit of a weird premise, but the chairman of OCP, that's the RoboCop guy, did offer his help in saving Nora, so it makes sense. This does serve as a prelude to spoiler, which is spoiler. Can't wait for Brian to see it. Stay yoppie.
Wait a minute. How did he get Nora?
I don't know. He said my men saved her from the fire or something. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, but you know.
How?
Ferris Boyle burned the lab because he kicked him in a table and didn't want evidence. And then I guess Grant Walker's people somehow had already been studying Mr. Freeze's work and were like, get his wife. We'll need him.
Somehow,
we'll need her
Nora
60 episodes later. Yeah.
That is...
Somehow Nora returned. Yeah.
That is a big plot hole that just kind of waltzed by me, and I was looking Disney. In the other direction.
I do wonder how Rossum knew about Batmite and Mrs. Spitlick. Like, does he have some sort of connection?
He has like
to
lucid
fifth
dreams
dimension?
of the fifth dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's a lot more powerful than we give him credit for.
Wow, this came to me in a dream. It was real cool, little purple dude with a hat. This is from
KM Mazma.
It says, hi, Jim Jam and Brother Broderick and Ted.
Thank you.
I'm KM. I won't write a Godfrey bit this week. Oh, thank God. Have either of you played the BioShock games? This underwater city reminds me of Rapture. Yeah, that's pretty similar.
Camino.
What?
Star Wars, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Camino.
That guy.
No, that's Naboo.
What are you talking
I was
about?
like, Attack of the Clones. Camino.
Oh, yeah, on the water planet or whatever. Yeah.
There's a lot of water planets.
There's too many
It's
water
okay.
places, yeah.
There's always a bigger fish.
Maybe they were influenced by this Batman episode, the game. I think that robot, which has a super inconsistent size, was influenced by the robot from Hayao Miyazaki movie Castle in the Sky. Yep. And
Nailed
robots
it.
from Fleischer Superman cartoons.
Oh, nailed it again.
Iron Giant came after this episode, and they probably had similar influences. We're all right. Everybody's right. I really like seeing Batmite. As far as I remember, this is his only DCAU appearance. I highly recommend reading World's Funnest, a comic written by Evan Dorkin. Is that what you're talking? Yeah, to see what he's capable of. He's powerful enough to destroy universes. Also, that is one of the funniest things I have read, and it features Bruce Timm and Glenn Murakami's artwork. Yeah, it's a. We'll talk about it years from now, Brian.
Hooray.
I don't have much to say about this episode. It's really good, not on the level of Heart of Ice. It still has great writing and good animation. Very true. Dino-faced individual, Deep Freeze Hench review. These
Jamie,
are
we didn't mention if we were going to put this on our top 10s.
Oh, are you?
No. Are you?
No.
Okay.
I am. Number 8.
Yeah, number 8 for this is comment submitted by Science Man Johnson. That was the balding science man that helped him be in the freeze place. So I managed to survive Oceania exploding, so I got that going for me. The bad news is I'm kind of out of a job. Most employers aren't exactly looking for a guy who helped orchestrate what almost was a mass genocide, but I hear that some new guy called Boss Pollock is looking for exactly that. Oceania went through a lot of names throughout its long development process. First was Epcot, but Mr. Walker said that was too Florida for his liking, which is definitely fair. Next, the R&D, Visioneers, decided to go with Rapture. Mr. Walker liked it, but thought it was way too obvious a metaphor, and that we didn't have enough sea slugs to make it work. Oceania was one of the last possible names, but Walker loved it. Once, when we told him the name was already taken, he told us, it's not like Australia and New Zealand are real anyways. I think they were made up by men at work. I'd rate Grant Walker a 5 out of 5. I wonder what the Defunct Land episode about Oceania will be like. That's good. This is from Scarloey1. Jump on the Mechanic Wagon, Season 2, Episode 14.
Hello, Saran. Welcome to Jump on the Mechanic Wagon. I'm your host, Scarloey1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season
Season 2, Episode 14 of Earl, the animated series Ice Try. One day, Earl was putting snow tires on the Batmobile when bonk! He was knocked unconscious. When he came to, the Penguin was standing in front of him. Hello, Earl. I'm going to kill you, and your favorite hero, Batman, isn't here to save you. Actually, my favorite superhero is Soul Power. You like Soul Power? Good choice, Bonk.
Spoilers, Jesus.
Hello, said Batman, standing over the unconscious Penguin. How did you find me? Asked Earl. The tracker I put on you, answered Batman. Where did you put it? Batman starts to walk away. Where did you put it? Fun fact, this is the last episode to air before the start of Freakazoid. Anyway, see you next week. Same time, same poo-poo channel.
That's fun. You don't know Soul Power yet, but you will.
I was
One day.
very confused by that.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah, he's my favorite superhero for sure. I'm going to be mad. This is from Dylan Pollock. I'm going to be mad if we make it through all the Mr. Freeze episodes without one of you doing a terrible Schwarzenegger impression.
I'll be back on ice.
Mr. Freeze. So there we go.
It's time for the Thoughts of the Week from Dylan Pollock on Deep Freeze, or the true version of Walt Disney's Frozen Head. I'm sure that's already been said. And I didn't mean to rhyme, but I don't have much time, so I got to keep going. So, Grant Walker, fun fact, is the old man, the boss from RoboCop. I knew he sounded familiar. Also, there's a podcast that did a great episode on RoboCop that I struggle to remember the name of. Also, I will say I think that this is not a very good episode. It's pretty stupid, but Michael Ansara is just so damn good as Mr. Freeze that when he says, I trade 1,000 of my frozen years for your worst day, chef's kiss. Also, who are these weird, deluded Disney adults who signed up to live in Walker's selected final race in the Ice Age? But enough about the episode,
Dylan.
which is okay. Let's get to the question of the week. James' favorite part.
That's my favorite part.
If you were going to be frozen, only to be awoken when a certain something is in existence, what is your wake-up signal? Is it flying cars, self-driving cars, teleporting, superpowers? What is the thing that you're like, yeah, I'm ready to come back?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Deep space travel.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Also, what you guys are thinking, I'm just gonna totally plug Dylan's podcast, Movies to Watch Before You Die.
That's
who
what
did
he's
do
talking about.
RoboCop, and you should go listen to that if you haven't, because it's a great episode.
I think the flying cars thing is probably my answer, but only if we have an in-place infrastructure for them not fucking crashing into each other all the time. Because I have never figured out like how any like Fifth Element type of place in the future has. How they're not just... How do they know what their height is? Their elevation? I don't know.
Man, I like the sky too much to want flying cars.
That's true. That's true.
Keep it open.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like giant fauna coming back. You know, like the giant sloths.
Yeah.
like why do we have to hunt them all into extinction? Let's bring them back.
Also, like, there's been some talk about like the oxygen levels of the worlds being like lower, and so things just can't be as big. So I guess your answer would be like about like a reoxygenation of the atmosphere.
Reoxygenation.
Yeah. I would love more oxygen.
That's how you wake up. Also, you go. Oh, I can finally breathe again.
I can breathe really well.
Oh God!
Shallow breaths.
That's what will happen with Walt Disney.
The plot hole from the episode, and I hate to interrupt, but do you think Grant Walker sent Bruce Wayne an invite to Oceania?
Oh yeah,
as the 1%. Like
maybe that's why he knew where to go. That's how he knew where to go.
Oh my God!
Might be where to go.
Yeah,
it's just big brain.
Can somebody edit that into the episode? I want to see this happen.
He's like, is this one of those Poison Ivy tapes again?
2 years and we'll be able to AI our own BTAS episode.
Yeah, really. God damn it.
I want the whole like, Mr. Wayne, I'd like you to come join my cult. Your hair is a little bit darker than I'd prefer, but I can make exceptions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
What's that eye color again? Blue? Good to go. Come on over. All right, this is comments on last episode, Jump on the Bat-Wagon 79, Lockup, or F is for Frigate.
Is this number 80?
This is number 80. This is our 80th episode. We're just now realizing I'm trying to get to the fucking applause button. Oh, God.
Season 3 finale.
All this stuff is happening. Ted's
episode
here.
80.
Yeah. This is from Ashley Tutchin. I'm really surprised Lockup hasn't appeared more in mainstream comics given how relevant he is in this day and age. Then again, maybe that's exactly why he hasn't been used. Oh, and Brian, the DC name gets even more confusing when you realize that they actually publish a comic called Detective Comics. This is one of their longest running books, and it's where Batman debuted, so when you hear people saying that Batman first appeared in Detective Comics number 27, that's what they mean.
Oh,
Ted probably knows the story. Yeah, I'm sure
it's
it's much
deeper than that.
Yeah, deeper
The
freeze.
DC universe also vibrates on the notes of D and C in the multiversal
Oh, yeah, that's
frequencies.
very true. That's very true.
Because, Brian, our universes are separated by music
Yeah.
and frequency. That's
Brian,
how you get to the upside down.
You would really like Grant Morrison comics stuff with like dimensions vibrating on different musical notes and stuff, and that's how you pass into the other it's cool. Okay, just take our word for it. All right, this is from Tip Tapricot. Deep Freeze is a really fun episode. I don't think it's as strong as Heart of Ice or other varying appearances of Freeze. We'll reach at some point, as well as the story is pretty strong. Some pieces of execution have been left a bit awkward or stilted. Characters will walk into rooms and just sort of stand there in silence, even in cases of urgency. Or the entire destroying the control room sequence in which Batman, Robin, and Freeze are just not talking to each other and kind of just going through weirdly uncoordinated. Other than that, I think it's fascinating this episode had vibes of the frozen Walt Disney head theory, which I think had to be intentional, and I'll be surprised if it hasn't been brought up already. Like
several times.
Yep, entertainment park big shot getting obsessed with his amusement park weirdly culty community of the future hybrid as he gets closer to death, becoming obsessed and eventually getting frozen to be preserved, and the visual design similarities too. Overall, a good watch, and truly nothing can beat the beauty of those last few shots. Mr. Freeze episodes really lean on the people, on the man only doing bad for love, for one goal, and it never feels false. It always feels genuine, like a cold mask put up to make dealing with grief easier. 9 moving goggle eyebrows out of 10 apparently self-heating Batman capes from me.
Yes. They're on it.
Nailed it.
I like the goggle eyebrows, yeah. I've always thought that that's what's happening with his mustache. It's attached to his goggles.
Also, that made me think of people who are kind of standing awkwardly about. There was Mr. Freeze and rich guy. What's his name?
Grant Walker.
Yeah, Walker. They were like both in their free suits, and like Batman was fighting, I don't know, robots or something, and you just see them in the background just standing there looking at each other.
Yeah.
Like,
there's some weird stuff. It didn't
cool.
It didn't stand out to me the way that has in other past episodes, but it's definitely like a little bit. It's not slowing the pace of the episode, but it is like move a little bit, do something. Yeah.
I think it was like, obviously it was like a background detail, but the camera lingered on the foreground in that spot too long. So like if it panned past them, you'd never notice, but it was just kind of like they're just there in like the upper left third being like,
yeah.
What's up?
Hello. Mr. Freeze's famous catchphrase. I also reminded me there's a shot of when Grant Walker's on the table being Freezified, and he like, are we ready to do the thing? And a camera pans over to Mr. Freeze, and he's like completely dark in shadow at a computer. And then it cuts to the next shot, and he's not in shadow anymore. It's like very bright where he is, and he points like, "Yep, I'm ready." Why? Why keep the shadow, man?
They shot those with different cameras.
Oh yeah, different exposures. Yeah,
it was different time of day.
Yeah, they had to do reshoots and they forgot. Yeah. This is from Batgirl Fangirl. Deep Freeze.
Hey.
Achoo! At what point do you think Grant Walker regretted giving Mr. Freeze that fully functioning cold gun? When he
Immediately.
When he froze his really expensive robot? When he froze his little worker robots with the yellow helmets? Or when he froze him in a block of ice for all eternity? I like how Grant Walker also had a button on his walking stick just to open Nora's curtain. Maybe he should have had one to turn off Mr. Freeze's cold gun. This was a brilliant episode.
Why didn't he have his own cold gun?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh!
Because he's got a really strong suit or something. This was a brilliant episode. I love the animation the best. Surely it can't get any better than this. What is the next episode anyway? My least favorite one. Great messages, Jordan. Summer. That part was so good. Dylan and Scarlett won. Yeah, Jordan had his girlfriend on last time to be Summer Gleason. That's pretty good.
That was great.
On an unrelated note, I watched an episode of Duckman Private Richard just to make sure it actually existed. Let's just say it was no DCAU, and I won't be watching another episode. Keen podcast, guys. 5 stars and 5 malfunctioning bat mites. Thank you.
Is his name Duckman, or is is he a duck?
I have no
Like Howard
idea.
the Duck?
I've never watched it before. He's a private dick and a
Daffy
family
Duck?
man. That's all I know.
Donald
I think
Duck?
he is a duck, yeah. This is from Ian Thompson. I'm a little cold on Deep Freeze. Heart of Ice establishes beautiful poignancy with the Mr. Freeze storyline that Deep Freeze muddles by going a little too sci-fi James Bond villain and by complicating Nora Freeze's continuity by having her be in suspended animation this whole time. It's like when the X-Men go into space or fight demons instead of just dealing with mutant or anti-mutant stuff. It's one step too far afield thematically for me. Grant Walker yelling at a fish has been burnt into my memory for 29 years, though, so it's not all bad. Yeah, that's a good shot.
It's the new flounder.
Yeah, he's so mad. No!
They're going to flounder.
Yeah. Why? My
Not
childhood.
my flounder.
Yeah, goddamn. Charles Motosierra, regarding Deep Freeze. Great action, not as good as Heart of Ice. I'm just glad to have Icy Boy back. I love how Hard Axe creator became the go-to robot guy, and coincidentally, the robot they were looking for just happened to be an updated version of one of his robots. I think it's pretty cool that Batman saves the world by reasoning with his villains. You'd think that that's some huge cliche, but it doesn't happen as much as you'd expect. Also, did this episode imply Walt Disney wanted to destroy everything but Disneyland? It's weird because the bad guy is much like Ra's al Ghul, wants immortality and the destruction of most of humanity. I don't know if I wanted this to be a Ra's al Ghul episode as well as a Mr. Freeze one, but it wouldn't hurt to have more Joey in this world. He'll be back soon. Anyway, this next episode is one of those. Edit. Jim Bowitz just dropped a Brotherick face reveal on the middle of the Robin costume video. Definitely ruined all the magic.
Oh!
You didn't know what Brian looked like?
Holy crap.
You went, he is old. Oh, God.
Wow. Well, I'm offended.
Cartoon Brian's been on the image, the album artwork for like all of time.
Yeah, but he's missing a
out.
tattoo now.
You're right. Yeah, I got to update him when this Superman one comes around.
If you
Okay,
watched the Batman and Harley Quinn Willa Cannon, you would have seen Brian already.
Yeah, Brian's running away from a big wall of what is it called?
That's true. I'm inside the robot,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I also
that
have
too.
I have a
Crisis.
cameo alongside.
And you're the judge people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian's in that video.
I'm a lot of people. I'm a lot of people.
You've seen Brian behind a morph suit and behind a invisibly removed face. Why didn't you know what he looks like? Idiot.
But yeah, no, there's a full frontal
Full frontal Brian at exactly this time code.
running away from a wall of stuff in that video with
Entropy,
Robert
that's what I was
Sterling
thinking, yeah.
and Cooper and Riel are in the background as well.
Yes.
Bunch of buddies hanging out by market of choice.
Yeah, that was my market of choice.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's funny that everyone predicting the next episode is like, oh shit, it's this one. Doesn't know yet that that's not actually what we're watching next, but I'm not quite there yet.
Wait a minute. What did you use? What was my face?
Oh, I just posted the I sell vacuums video.
Oh yeah, that's me looking real good and normal.
Yeah, holding.
But
like
I did just buy a new vacuum, so I don't know. I don't know how that works.
It works. Sure.
I just emptied out my vacuum.
Oh, what?
I just cleaned.
Fire and ice.
I'm in the middle. I just had to clean out my vacuum because it had mold growing inside.
Oh my God, Jamie! What the fuck?
I don't know why.
Disgusting.
It was pretty gross. I turned it on to suck up some goldfish crumbs off the couch, and then I was like, why does it smell like mold? The air coming out of this. And I opened it up. There's mold in there. That's why. So I cleaned it. Super Luigi 64 says screen freezes after door on Bolton's cell closes. Ominous narration. Lyle Bolton would be shivved by the Mad Hatter using a stolen Scarface leg 2 weeks later. Looking forward to Deep Freeze, a.k.a. Give My Wife, Please. Banana Boy says, okay. I don't have a Banana Man in here.
But we had Banana Man last. This world. This world. Does Banana Man appear on Watchtower?
No, I don't think so.
Yep.
I mean, he's probably there somewhere.
He's just trying not to spoil things for you.
The bananas. Bixzo, BXTZO, Bixzo. I really enjoy podcasts. Now that I know you've got one, I'm going to binge all of it. Good.
Oh,
I'll hit the heart on
luck.
that one. Yeah. Everybody's
Good
doing
luck.
I
it.
enjoy podcasts now that I know you've got one too. I didn't enjoy them before. I knew about those.
But now you still enjoy them. After.
Yeah, I enjoy them now. Yeah.
Mark Aquino, who is not first.
Mark.
Your patience has finally paid off, Bri. It's the return of everyone's favorite chili boy, Mr. Freeze. The episode opens with a robot emerging from the Gotham River, and my immediate thought was, hey, Zeta's origin story. I want to shout out the actor that played Walt Disney, Grant Walker, Daniel O'Herlihy. He's best known for his roles in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, cue the Silver Shamrock jingle, and especially in RoboCop where he says lines that are actually quite fitting for this episode. Dick, I'm very disappointed. You call this a glitch? And Dick, you're fired! And ice. God, that movie still rules, and Dylan can back me up on that. The whole conceit of Grant Walker's plan is to replicate the same aging process that made Freeze the angsty walking push pop he is today. Obviously, this is a reference to the urban legend that Walt Disney is cryogenically frozen so he can live forever, which was never true, FYI, as Walt was cremated. Yeah, well, we don't know. Were you there? But that's just what the system wants you to think, man. Cue the
no.
It says, cue the spooky music. There it is. It just reminded me of a really funny fan film someone made a couple of years ago. It's free to watch on YouTube called The Further Adventures of Walt's Frozen Head. I highly recommend it. It's close in tone to the cheesy Disney comedies of the 70s, like The Cat from Outer Space and The Computer That Wore Tennis Shoes. I've never heard of either of those.
Neither.
Anyway, this episode was on par with Heart of Ice. No, very few episodes were, but I'd still call this one of the better episodes in season 3 of BTAS, as it's still a Paul Dini script with great dialogue and great moments of pathos. Sure as hell is better than Fire from Olympus, that's for sure. The other one on the tape. Praise to our Lord and Savior Dylan Pollock. Love your podcast, dude. Creep up the great work. Make sure you do that. Remember to tell Gab she rules. Likewise to his loyal disciples, all the names. Welcome back, Banana Man, except Banana Man's not here. Till next week, Smoke Bomb. And then actually first was Scarloey 1. Give me an F, give me an I, give me an R, give me an S, give me a T. What does that spell? I don't know. Frist, I think, was all I could see.
No, it's Frost because
Mr. Freeze. That's it. Thank you for listening, everybody. Ted's been here.
I've been here. I've had so much fun. Thank you for carrying me around on your Bat-Wagon.
Yeah, of course. Brian's
Jamie,
dangling off the back, and you're holding onto Brian's ankle.
Will you edit that for the YouTube thumbnail?
Draw an entire new thing just for
An
this
entire
one episode.
Ted.
Do a Dr. Manhattan's head thing where I don't know.
Yeah.
Hours.
I'll just put him in the. I'll put a giant like your sunglasses eyes at like 2% opacity in the background. Yeah, that's it. If you want to listen to more discussion about this episode, what?
Need to talk about the next episode.
I know. I will
okay.
in just a second. You should check
you
out.
changed the order on things.
I did
and I'm
change
all
the order of
confused.
things.
I'm an old
the
man.
DCAU Review and Timm Talk podcast, also available on the Podtower YouTube channel, just like this podcast. Okay, the next episode, Brian. So everyone thinks it's a different one because that's the next actual episode that we'll watch. But the very next thing we were watching on this podcast, it is not an episode. It is not a movie either.
It's a comic book.
It is the cutscenes from a video game. We were watching the cutscenes from the Sega CD version of The Adventures of Batman and Robin.
What the fuck?
I streamed that game a couple of years ago.
You did, yes.
On here. You can watch it
find
on the
Podtower,
Podtower. It's
yeah.
probably a little glitchy.
Probably. It always
Jamie,
is.
how am I supposed to guess what happens in that episode?
Look, well, what I can tell you is that you know how there's 85 episodes of Batman the Animated Series? Well, this is called Mystery 86. That's not an actual title, but that's the like production title for the quote-unquote episode. It was produced like an episode, so it's animated fully like an episode, but presented in shitty Sega CD 1995 graphic quality.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Here's a hint. It's called The Lost Episode.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what people refer to it
It's
as,
not a
yeah.
good hint.
Yeah, also, it's the name of the show.
Wait. Batman. It's going to be Batman, and he's going to be trying to like figure out some bullshit from the Joker.
Okay.
Is Joker in it?
Joker is in it.
Okay. I'm gonna call it there.
You know who else? You know who else is in it?
Robin.
Like every other villain.
But is Robin in it?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah! Perfect! 3 for 3!
He's in a chicken suit at one point.
I guess it was called The Adventures of Batman and Robin. It's like a CD. Yeah.
It was Robin wasn't in it. Well, we had to call it that.
Sonic the Hedgehog in it?
Right. Yeah.
This sounds weird as hell.
It is going to be interesting. It's a YouTube video. It's about 17 minutes long of just the cutscenes. But we'll watch it next time. That's what we're doing next week. Awesome. Then after that, we only have 5 episodes of Batman the Animated Series remaining. And then we'll do our couple bonus episodes, and we'll be on to Superman.
Wow.
We're finally here.
We are rounding the last corner, and I'm just getting a little anxious about this.
Yeah, like I think I said this on the podcast before, but I was like, "How do you feel about ending Batman?" You're like, "Well, I'm sad. I'm kind of sad to end Batman, but I'm really excited for what Superman, is going to be like." And I was, you're sad to end Batman. It means so much to me.
Yeah, and now I'm getting anxious about it. It's like, oh, God. It's like it's going to be over. We've been doing this for 15 years.
What if you don't like Superman?
What if I don't like Superman?
Watch 52 episodes.
And then you're like, what did I get myself into? Now you're like,
I think Brian's been thinking that since the start. So.
Brian's been thinking that since the start.
It's not a think anymore. It is what it actually is.
I'm just too old for this.
Well, that's what we're doing. Thank you to Kimmy, Cooney, Phoenix, Viltsu, and of course Brother Broderick for all our musical themes. Please subscribe to the Watchtower Database YouTube channel for DC Animated Universe videos on a regular basis, and subscribe to the Podtower for all new DCAU podcasts every week.
And subscribe to Ted.
Subscribe to Ted at tedkendrick.com.
Hey,
There's a
I have a
newsletter.
newsletter.
You got a newsletter?
Yeah, but scroll down to the bottom of it. Yeah, I do. You guys subscribe. You can also go to tedkendrick.substack.com, and that'll take you directly there. It's a Substack. Mm-hmm. But you can find it on my website at tedkendrick.com. It's whatever creative work I'm working on. I share my Watchtower Database stuff, but I have 2 short films that I just completed that are going to be shared there sooner than later.
And now that we're ending the podcast, I should probably tell you how... Ted's Ted from Watchtower Database, if you haven't figured that out yet.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted Kendrick from Watchtower Database.
Yeah. Ted, me. Can you please like today's episode on the Podtower to spread us around the interwebs? Can you also leave the podcast a 5-star review on whatever the hell you're listening to this on? Because you might hear your review read on the show. Like it was Dylan said, like, I left a 5-star review and then I left a 1-star review just to get you to that 6 or something. I don't think that's how it works, but okay. Every Friday is when these come out, and that's it. We're done.
We did it, guys.
We did some deep freezing.
That was pretty cool.
I hated that. But
okay,
seriously, thank you for being here, Ted. Thank you, everybody, for listening. It has been swell. We got Mr. Freeze back, and now he's freezing in the ocean. The end.
You get Ted screaming at a fish at the end of this?
That's me. I'm also in like a
I'm also a whale myself. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Man, if I spent any more time in that immersion tank, I'd be growing gills.
I'm just glad I was able to get you back here in time.
Thanks. For a while, I thought I'd wind up like Walker, trapped in an ice cube forever. But what about Mr. Freeze? You think he's gone for good?
I'm not sure, but if Freeze's condition has made him truly immortal, we may not have seen the last of him.